Hi E-Models fans, welcome to part 4 of the German Panzer IV medium tank build. It's Ted here from E-Models, and in this section, first of all, we're looking at just finishing the interior off on the tank before it all goes into the main hull itself. I took a pause at this stage because when it came to fitting the gearbox, I know it was I found it was a little bit fiddly, so what I thought I'd do, I thought I'd talk you through it just to show one of the or the way that I've sort of come across and managed to get it done. In the instructions, obviously earlier on it tells you how to build the gearbox and the blower pipes and such like that, and then we move on a little bit to the section 8 on page 11 in the instructions, when it tells us to fit the gearbox into the interior, and also fitting in there is the main engine itself and the prop shaft. The prop shaft goes along here. We're introducing the pointy stick in this stage. The prop shaft goes along in this section here. As you can see already, we have fit the engine itself into the engine bay, and also in here, finding the smaller pointy stick, in there is the prop shaft. Now once you put the two bulkheads on at each end, this bulkhead here and this bulkhead down here, the prop shaft will only go in one way, and it connects just down in there somewhere, just down in there. You can't really see it because of the lighting. Just down in there is the connection to the engine itself, and the prop shaft sort of pushes itself and locates in there. It's easiest to do that first by putting the prop shaft into place, connecting it to the engine, and then gluing the engine into position. So the prop shaft is there, located in there, excuse me, and located on the engine universal joint itself. Now what we've got to do now is connect all this lot up. It says in the instructions here there's a few parts to go in. There's these rails for the gearbox itself, the gearbox, and that connects on there. This piece here connects on there. Can we see it? That bit there connects on there into the hollow on the prop shaft. I did try it a few times, and the way I seem to have done it, it tells you in the instructions, is that you fit these rails on. Is that the right way? No, it's that one. Fit the rails on there and then fit the whole thing together. Now I couldn't work out, if I was going to glue it on, if I was going to glue it together, what angle these were going to be, and also connecting it to the prop shaft was a bit of a fiddle. So what we're going to do, we're going to zoom in a little bit, and then we'll see how we can get it done. So bear with me a moment and we'll see if we can zoom in. Let's go. Oh, that worked better than I thought. Right, let's move this over. See the hole there? What I've done as well is I've gone around and give a little bit of weathering, just some oil stains and such, and that's what you can see from here. Now then, when I came to build the prop shaft, I left this drive just floating a little bit. I wasn't quite sure how it was going to connect up, so I just left it floating, left it loose in there. So if yours is the same, this is how it's done. Now what we're going to do first, the gearbox itself has a couple of lugs just in here which match these lugs here, and also these rails here actually fit underneath those brackets. It'll all become apparent how it's going to go in a moment. So what we've done first is to get this in there. Right, let's get it into position. So what we need to do, if you've left this piece floating, is to make sure it goes as far back as it can, because it seems to sit on a lip. Now whether I should have left it floating or whether I should have glued it on, I wasn't too sure, so I left it. So that goes in there. We get ourselves a set of tweezers. I'm trying to do it so you can get it. What we're going to do now is lift the prop shaft up and then push the drive shaft through there till it locates. Now bear with me a moment, because I've just got to look at this. And it's fallen out. You're probably just going to see lots of hands here for the moment. It will go in. Went in easier than this before, it always does when you're not watching. There, it's in. Now it doesn't necessarily need any glue on that part in there, because it's not going to go anywhere. Now what we're going to need to do now is push it forward a little bit, and it will sit in those two lugs, and the gearbox, the blower, will sit on top of those brackets there. Okay, that's that bit done. It's in. Now then, we take the engine rails, and there's a couple of parts on each engine rail. There's a part there that sits in there, and that pushes into this part. Just trying to get the lighting right. Let's move the light around a little bit. See it just in there. The lug on the rail sits in there, but it also connects, move my thumb out of the way, underneath that bracket there, and it also fits, trying to get it so the shadow isn't there, but there's a little slot just in the deck, just under there. You'll see it when you've got your model. And to do this, we slip, that goes in there, slide it forward, and it's slide it underneath the bracket at the front, push it in, and then just gently lifting this engine, the gearbox up. It should sit in the lug, and then once again taking the tweezers, it will sit in the clip. There it goes. You'll feel it all. It'll all clip in together. I think I would have tried to do this by gluing the rail into there first and then putting it all together. I think it would have been forever out getting this in the right angle. So clip it in there, and then we'll do the same on the other side. It's all being held in place now, so it should be easier. So we put it under here first, this side, that goes in there, just clips into the engine at that end. There we go, and then just push it forward. Oops, too far in there. And that is how we overcome the little problem of fitting the rails into the gearbox. All we need to do now is just to take a bit of weathering, just to weather this down. Put some oil and grease on it just to weather it down so it doesn't look too bright and shiny. I wouldn't worry about too much around here, because that's going to be covered with pieces of equipment, and the same on this side, and the gearboxes, which is part of the later on in this video, we're going to go in here. And what else have we got? We've got the driver's seat. Once again, bit of weathering, bit of touching up, and that goes in there like that. Just before we move to the next part, putting it all in together, obviously I'll glue all these bits in. I'll put some glue just to hold them in place. I'll do that. But you might see that what we've gone on and done inside the fighting compartment is just done a bit of chipping. All that's done, I've just used some black paint, just some black paint and a small brush, and just touched, sort of doing it rather than chipping it off with hairspray. I've just added the black marks. In my case, I think less is more, but it's all down to personal taste, and just touched up some highlights in here with some bare metal paint and such like that. I haven't painted the ammunition lids yet because I'm still undecided whether I'm going to leave them open, leave them loose, so that we could just pop them off and have a look inside, or I'm going to leave them open as such. I'm just at the moment trying to find out how they actually open, whether they're split in the middle down here, whether they have if they have a hinge, and are they cantilevered, or am I leaving them shut? Anyway, what we're going to do now is we've prepared. Well, let's zoom out a bit. You can see what's happening then. There we go. What we've done, we've prepared the inside of the hull, just giving it a bit of a wash, a colour where it's going to show through, and we're going to slide this into here. It's a little bit tight. I have tried it. It does go in. It's a little bit tight, but I've still got these bits to glue yet, and then we'll come back and have a look at doing some bits on the rear of the tank. Okay, that's the first bit done, so we'll see you in a moment. Okay, that's that lot all settled in. We're going to look now at building part of the rear suspension for the tank. I thought I'd show you this little bit, as I've found a bit of an issue. Well, not so much of an issue, but something worth pointing out to keep everything moving when you build the rear idlers. Now there's two options according to the instructions. There's these type of wheels, and also on sprue P there's a rounded type of idler as well. Now the experts amongst us will probably know the difference, or probably a different era of tank, or probably even just an upgrade from one to the other. I'm not sure why, but I've gone for the squared idlers rather than the options. I'm sure somebody, well, I'd like to know if anybody knows out there when these wheels were changed. Anyway, what I did find that it doesn't actually tell you in the instructions, if I can find them, it doesn't actually tell you not to glue anything. It just shows you putting it all together, but there's no icon for telling you no glue, and I think that really leaves it out, that you won't have a working suspension. That's if you want that. Anyway, this is how I put it together. Initially I found that if we built it and used the liquid glue, the one that works with the capillary action, it seemed to gum everything up, and everything got glued. So I've delved deep into my toolbox and found some old tubes of liquid poly, a little bit small and well used, but they're coming useful for doing this. Right, let's just find the instructions and see which way we're going to do it. These sit on the back and they have sort of a suspension type arrangement on them. Anyway, so how did we go about it? First of all, there's this bit which is L36, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, 5 parts, 6, and the wheels themselves. It's fairly straightforward, just putting it all together, but you do need to make sure that you don't get glue everywhere. You shouldn't, or it just won't work. So let's put this one slides in here, and then the cap, the bead to hold it, goes that way in. So this is where the glue comes in, just a blob on that. I tend to use it this way, putting some blob, put some glue onto a scrap piece of plastic, or in this case a post-it note, and then apply with a cocktail stick, because I find that once you get the glue poised over there, squeeze it all and it all comes out. So just a small touch. We need to make sure it goes on the inside, because if we get any here on the outside, it will stop the movement. So that slides in there, and the pin pushes in, and that should keep it moving like that. Same applies for the end cap. There's an end cap that goes across there. Now if you use your capillary action glue, your thin glue, to touch it in there, it's going to run and gum up all these bits in here, so you're defeating the object. So we'll try this bit once again, a little bit of glue. Believe me, I learnt this the hard way, and I'd glued everything up the first time round. But that's why I'm doing this. I make the mistakes, so you don't have to. And that just sits on there. Obviously this this tube glue doesn't really set as quick as some of the capillary stuff, but that's what this modelling hobby is all about. Patience. Looking for the next bit. Doesn't matter too much about this one. That's a bit of plate. There's some really good mouldings on here. Probably too small for the camera to pick up, but there's some really good mouldings just in here. You can actually see the castellated nuts. Fantastic piece of moulding. I'd really like to visit a factory one day to see how it's all done. Mr. Airfix, if you're out there, come and have a view. I know this isn't Airfix, but if I can come and have a look around your factory, see how you do it. That one glues on there, and then it's a choice of wheels. Very simple, it all goes together quite easily. Want some more glue just on this bit. Just hold the wheel on. Be careful that once we touch it in, we're not going to get glue everywhere that we don't want it. But we want enough glue to make sure that this whole thing works. There we go. And we've got the up and down movement on the suspension. All that's left to do now is just to put that outer wheel onto there, and then put it to one side and let it all dry, and then we can look at putting the whole thing together on the back end and getting it to be a bit more of a tank. Okay, that's just a little bit I thought I'd show you, and a couple of things to point out. As I say, it does actually say no cement, but only on that section there, just where the pin holds the wheel on. It doesn't say anything about not gluing these, but we've got that option now, so it's worth pointing out. Anyway, I'll go and let that dry, and then we'll look at moving on to the next bit. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, welcome back. We're working on the the rear panel of the tank now. A lot of it's just cut out and glue, and you join me as I'm just cutting one of the last parts off the sprue. What I like to do is get everything on the page that's required on the page cut out, and then just check all the parts off. I actually circle them in pencil as I've cut them out and glue them together, and then give it a final run through, and all the parts that we need for this page should actually be on the bench. If that's a system that you've got, if you've got another system, fine, but that's how I do mine. I make sure everything's there first. One or two of you have sent messages and asked about my sprue cutters. They're not actually bought as sprue cutters. In fact, they're a pair of instrument electrical wire cutters. They look a little bit over-engineered with this bit in the bottom, but that's actually, if I can find a piece of wire, that is actually a wire stripper. Just strips the ends off the wire. Brilliant. I just picked them up in, for those of you who are in the UK, in a shop called The Works. Is it The Works? No, The Range. The Range, sorry. You may be able to find them as well in instrument stores, those Maplin, Radio Shack type stores. You may find them in there. I find them ideal for cutting sprues. Nice and sharp, nice and pointed, and they do the job excellently. Anyway, I've got all the parts here. As we saw before, we've now finished and let the rear idlers all set, and they seem all nice and loose. It's just a matter now of putting it together. The exhaust system goes in there somewhere. I do like the way that these kits or this kit, everything is made so it will only go in one way. Like this exhaust, there's one lug that side, two the other, so you can't without difficulty put it on upside down. That will go in there. There's a few bits just to go on the top there, and all these it looks like a towing hook arrangement to go on the back. There's another small, what looks like an exhaust system. It goes in there like that, and it's fairly simple. Nothing remarkably difficult in this. Just part, oh, I've dropped it now, where's it gone? Just part number E26, which slides in there, I think. Is it in there or is it in that one? Let's get the plan. E26 goes in there. As I said, it's got a lug on it that will only go in one way, so as I say, it makes sure that everything will go in properly. So that sits in there, and then do that one first, then the exhaust goes over the top. So just a short scene, this one. I'll go and glue it all together, and we'll come back and we'll look at it. Finally, I'm putting it all together. Okay, see you in a minute. Well, there we are. There's the rear panel all completed with the idler wheels on. Went together fairly simply, just a matter of following the instructions. The only things that I did find were a bit of a mess and a bit of a fiddle were these bits here. They look like two metal covers, and inside those covers is parts P5, which look on the drawing to be some sort of exhaust intake into the main silencer here. It seems like you've got to line those up with some little D-shaped, you can't quite see it on here, probably not quite see it, with some little D-shaped holes in there. That's after they've been assembled into these panels. I'm thinking they're probably just protective panels for the exhaust. Now that they're in and we've fiddled with them, you can't really see them. So do we really need to put them in? You could, if you wanted, I suppose, put a bit of battle wear on it and leave the panels off, or one of them off, or a bit dinted. They tend to look to me as though they're probably just a steel heat shield or a steel protection, which may or may not get knocked off during action. But it's all gone together anyway. I've put them in, and that's about it. It's fairly easy to go together. There's lots of bags of detail on this at the back, so when it comes to painting and weathering, it's going to be pretty good to work some rust into these bits here, into the exhaust, into the towing hook, all in here. And there's some oil and grease. There's a fuel filler cap just in here. And now it's time just to put it in position in the back of the tank. I haven't painted the other side. There's a few ejector marks just in the back that needed filling up. Plus there's the holes where the pieces on the back or the front have gone on. They probably need some filling up, and then it's just a matter of painting it to match the colour of the inside of the tank. So let's fetch the other part of the tank in, and we'll see where we're up to. Here we are. So this piece is now going to go in here. For those of you who are on Facebook, by the way, if you are following this from the Facebook link, I do have my own site, my own Facebook page, where I'll be updating the build of this tank with some pictures to supplement the video that we're doing at the moment. So that's down here at the moment, Skipper's Scale Models. Come and like the page, and you'll catch some updates when I add the build progress photographs, and you'll also see, you'll probably get first shout when the video has been uploaded by eModels. Anyway, I tried this in position before. I'm not going to glue it in at the moment because, as I say, I've got some paint and such to do on the inside. I've also got some catching up to do around the engine bay itself. But what I did find that we needed to do was just down here in the, catch the light, just down there, where's my little pointy stick, just down here is a hole where this toe bolt, get it in the shot, where this toe bolt goes. Now then, we need to, what I've found it's easier to do is just to open it up a little bit. Just take a small round needle file and just open that hole just a touch, and it just makes the fitting of this back end go in a lot easier. The best way to do it is try and get that lined up first. You have to excuse me if you lose sight and just see backs of my hands as I try to do this. It'll all clip together like that. Then when we're ready, we'll run some glue along the joints, and it's looking fairly good. Just to paint the inside, I'm not sure how much detail we're going to see of the engine bay, but I'll be doing the bulkheads in the Mr. Hobby H12 off-white, just to go along with the rest of the inside. And then, as you see, at the front bulkhead, we'll catch up with some weathering, weather it all together. On the talk about painting, we're getting to the stage now where most of us armourers, armour builders, we're going to paint the whole thing at once. So unlike the engine, the interior, where it was a paint, glue, build, do a bit more painting, do a bit more gluing, what we're going to do now is leave the outside in various primers, and then we'll go across the whole thing. So that's what we're going to do with this. So that's about it for this video. We've done the back end. Let's have a look in the book to see what we're going to start on for the next stage. Obviously some of the suspension sides, we're looking to building, we're going back inside, I think, into the interior. Some of the gearboxes, got a couple of gearboxes to build and pipe all them up. There we go, up to page 18, section 15. Pipe it all up, put some of the interior gubbings on the inside, some of the equipment, and we'll paint it all up. We'll sort it out before we're moving on to the wheels. So that's going to be the basis of the next one. It should start and move a little bit quicker now, because as I say, it was all parts painted and glued, and letting the glue dry, letting the paint dry, touching up with a little bit of weathering. Still haven't decided what I'm going to do with ammunition boxes, but there's another one to build in here as well. That's what I did notice as well. When I put the tank, when I put the interior into the tank, you'll see on the bottom here is the escape hatch. Well, I assume it to be the escape hatch. It's well represented on the outside, but it's missing on the inside. Bit of a slip up there. Never mind. I don't think it'll be noticed that much, but that's about it. Okay, that's it for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Any questions, just comment below, or send us an email. So it's Ted at eModels. Thanking you for watching. Go along and have a look at the eModels website. They've got this tank available. I know it's in stock at the moment at the time of this video. Everything else that they've got, and as my friend Fox says, if you don't need it, they probably haven't got it anyway. But thanks for watching anyway, and we'll see you all again in the next video. So bye now.